Alright people, what is good? Back with another episode. This is episode 10 of the VF Cast. I am VF Baller and I have a lot to cover. Not necessarily much of the E3 stuff. There's been so many people talking about E3. I just been falling back. I've been watching some of the stuff. I haven't watched all of it, so I don't even know what happened to E3. But one thing I will say, that as far as the content and as much stuff that's been shown, it's really good for the gamers. Also, for some reason, it seems like a lot of people are upset at a lot of things. Like most of the content creators I've seen, most of them are like not happy with what they've seen, and I'm not going to get into much of that. I just find that really odd that a lot of them are not happy with what they see, and this kind of disheartening, honestly. But I digress. Maybe sometime down the road I will make a video, give you my full thoughts about E3. I've just been steering away from all of that, and I'll give you a reason why when that time comes. But let's just get into it. Thank you once again for watching another episode of the VF Cast. This is episode 10. I am VF Baller once again, and I have a lot of stuff I want to talk about, a lot of things I want to get through that are outside of E3, some things that I find that are pretty troubling, and some things that I find that are actually pretty dope, pretty clean, pretty cool. And we're gonna get into all that. Also, I have revamped the First and Frame Rates store on Teespring. So if you want to go over there, check out the new stuff that I put up. I got the pictures of some of the things that I have up now. I even have stuff for the ladies. If you guys want to get some jogging pants, you want to get some leggings, you got some women t-shirts over there, as well as a tumbler, which I'm becoming a fan of a lot of tumblers. Like you see this one right here. I have an Atlanta Falcons tumbler. I have another one that says World Greatest Dad. And I'm planning on getting a Georgia Southern one. I just need to order it. But I'm becoming a big fan of them. You'll probably see me with one of these tumblers very, very soon. The First and Frame Rates tumbler. Also have mugs and other types of t-shirts. Just go check it out. The link will be down in the description on the YouTube channel. And you can also see it on my pinned tweet on Twitter. My Twitter handle is VFBaller. Today we're going to talk about EA, and I'm not going to talk too much about CD Projekt Red, but they do tie into each other. CD Projekt Red is, they've been hacked with, and some of the source code was stolen, and EA is another company that is subject to that as well. EA has fallen victim to hackers, and as of right now, the hackers got away with source code for FIFA 21 and the Frostbite engine. And they're advertising that this data is for sale to the tune of $28 million. Man, this is crazy if you really think about it. I don't know how serious this is. It may not be. I know EA has already stated that none of the players who are playing are affected as far as their information, which is a good thing. But I'm starting to get a trend to think that these hackers aren't really going after players' information anymore. I mean, that was an issue when the PlayStation got hacked back in 2011. But even then, the people that's called Anonymous did not necessarily go after anybody's information and used it. They're basically trying to hack these companies to take them down for whatever reason. But like I said, CD Projekt Red has already been under a bunch of attacks like this, or at least 2 or 3 that I know of. I'll say 2 just to be safe. And now EA has come under attack. Also, I don't know if you guys know that Nintendo was also under a source code attack, and back in July 2020, where the source code of a lot of Super Nintendo games and some N64 games and an unreleased Zelda game was released into the wild. It's pretty crazy when you think about this stuff, and I don't know how significant this is, but you don't want anything like this to happen, because stuff like this could get worse, in my opinion. Especially if nothing is done about it, or if the I guess there's no ransom, but if they're not found or whatever, this could get to a point where real significant stuff, which the source code is already significant, but like bigger and more significant things could be stolen through these hacks. I hope EA and other companies will take heed of what's going on, because this is really detrimental to gaming. Well, at least it can be, because when they don't have control of their source code, no telling what may happen to it, what it can be used for, or what happens to the people who buy it. They make their own games or whatever the case may be. You just don't know what happens to it. It's quite valuable material when these type of things are stolen. So hopefully these companies keep this stuff under wraps and just keep everything behind lock and key, because like I said, this type of stuff you really don't want to have out in the wild. It's I just think this is a problem that nobody really wants to talk about, because I've seen a few people talk about it. Some of the big major networks, and as far as digital networks over the internet, they talked about it. But as for gamers, I guess it's something that a lot of content creators that I know of, that I've seen, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, it's okay to be wrong, but maybe I'm wrong. But I don't think I've seen any. I didn't see many talk about it. I think it's maybe like one or two. So hopefully this could get resolved. Let's go even further with this. It says there is a situation where I don't think any big time developers would actually try to use this source code, because it'll be obvious for them, and it'll hurt their reputation. They'll look as guilty as people who hack the systems to get this source code. I doubt it. Like, you will see something like a 2K, or you will see somebody like other publishers that has good names behind them will actually use the Frostbite engine in their games, because it's just crazy that all of a sudden you will see a game using somewhat that looks like the Frostbite engine on a Far Cry game or anything like that. It'll just be weird. But it could help like hackers or other gamers who are able to see how the source code works, and they could get cheats, and they can crack the game, and they could reveal other projects or other game ideas that these companies are trying to do. It'll be really interesting, especially with the source code as well. Some developers put things about their own 2 cents in some of this stuff. Like, you'll find some comments that they put on in the files or whatever, and some of those comments could be damaging, because you just never know, because when people put things out there and not really able to see what the people not able to see what it is, no telling what can be put in those situations or put in those files. So it's just not a good look, because at the end of the day, this is basically their building blocks of making games, and those games aren't if that source code or that material or those building blocks are being breached, or they're being used by someone else, or they find ways to manipulate that source code. Even when a game comes out, they'll find a way to get around those type of things easily, because they already have access to what it does. So it's really interesting to see what happens. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the years to come, because they're going to be using this. They're going to be using this the Frostbite and all this other stuff to build games, and if it's out there in the wild, I want to see what type of measures they're going to take. Also, the hackers claim that they have Microsoft, they have Xbox and Sony SDKs and API keys available for sale, which is that's crazy. And this has a total of 780 gigabytes worth of stolen data. That is nuts. That is crazy. I have a link right here to show you what it is, but I'm not going to put it out there, because I'm not one of the types to do that. I'll put the link down in the description of the article that I'm looking at. It's from The Verge, and The Verge basically has a screenshot of everything that they have. They say they have debug tools, SD and API keys. They have access to the FIFA 21 matchmaking server, FIFA 22. Wow, they have FIFA 22 API keys and some SDK debugging tools, Frostbite SRC codes, debug tools, many proprietary EA game frameworks. So that means they have a lot of stuff that this things is probably in the making. And SDKs, Sony and Xbox private SDK API key, Xbox, PlayStation, EA. Oh man, they got a lot of stuff. Yeah, PFX and CRT with key is currently used. And they said you'll have full capacity of exploiting on all EA services. The total dump is 780 gigs. Yeah, and they got proof of the pictures and all this stuff. EA spokesperson confirmed to The Verge that the hackers stole a limited amount of game source code and related tools. Said that the hackers didn't have access to players' data. Like I said that earlier, they don't have access to players' data, which is good. But I don't think that even if they did get that access, they're not going to do anything to it. Most of these hackers nowadays are not worried about gamer data per se. I mean, like I said, we saw that in the 2011 hack when they actually did have a lot of gamers' information, but they did not. I don't think there was any instance where a gamer or a user information was used in any way. But it said they also said that the company improved the security following the hack and doesn't expect an impact its games of business. Well, that's good. EA was clear to us that unlike the recent string of cybersecurity incidents we've seen, this was not a ransomware attack, and is working with law enforcement to investigate the incident. So basically, it wasn't a ransomware attack. These guys knew what they were doing. It wasn't something that they were like trying to. They just went after them basically. And this is another thing. There's a lot of other companies that are outside of gaming that actually had like cyber attacks. I mean, I think even the government had a cyber attack recently. I know there was like the food industry was hacked, and the whole thing about the gas situation. There was a situation there about a month ago. It is the country as a whole, and I don't want to get too far into the woods with this because this is not that type of podcast. But the country as a whole really need to do something about this, because it's getting out of hand where, food supply, gas supply, video games, even the government is now being targeted as for cyber attacks. It's really not good when you really think about it, and it's just something that we all need to be mindful of. I mean, if I was a gamer like myself right now, I don't have any of my information on file as far as my my bank information, credit cards, any of that stuff. I pay through everything through like an Xbox or a PlayStation card, network card, or like even with Steam. I may, and I need to check this, I may have my PayPal on Steam, which I may need to change that as well and just buy everything through Steam cards as well. And even with Nintendo, same thing. I advise all of you guys to do so, because even though that they haven't been messing with player data, it's just a matter of time that this stuff can happen. And when it does happen, you could fall victim to this stuff. Even though Sony's already said, hey, we do have liability a coverage for you guys up to $1 million, since from the 2011 attack, I still wouldn't trust it. I would still try to put all my stuff offline, all my cards and everything offline. So therefore, if something like this does happen, none of my bank or credit card stuff is breached or whatever. Buy everything through Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, Steam. Buy them through those cards that you can get from the grocery store or whatever, or Best Buy, or hell, you can even buy those off Amazon. And even with that, I wouldn't even trust having my card information on any of those sites, Amazon, eBay, any of that stuff. You might want to just start being real cautious about what goes on in these situations. So I think it's a very valuable that at the end of the day, you should take all of this as a lesson learned, because I know everybody's all hyped about these new games or whatever, but stuff like this can set things back where the games is not even they're not even your priority. It's good to have fun and play games and all this stuff, but you also want to be safe and make sure your finances or your information is safe as well. Speaking of having fun, I want to get off of this topic, and I just want to talk about a few things before I go, because I've been doing a good job trying to keep these podcasts around the 30-minute mark. Don't want to be going too long, but as far as gaming going, having fun, I've been having a blast. I mean, I've been moving some things around up here. Once again, I'm always doing that, but I think I got a nice little setup for my retro side of the room and my current generation side of the room, and in the middle I have my PC gaming side of the room. And right now I'm in the PC side. You can see right here behind me, this is gonna be my current game stuff. You see my PS4 is right here, and then my Xbox One is right there. You may see my PlayStation right here, but don't worry about it. I'm about to move all that. My AVS, all that stuff's gonna be moved because I'm gonna be putting all my current generation stuff over there, and or like the last generation stuff over there. Everything from PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 on down is gonna be over here, and I have a nice little setup over there for how I got all of my consoles to hook up to this fantastic HD tube TV, HD CR TV, and it looks beautiful. I love the way it looks. Maybe I'll do a video on that one day down the road. But as far as having fun, one thing there's a reason why this podcast has been late to be uploaded, and I was late doing it. It's like my son, he's 2 years old and he's now getting into gaming, believe it or not. He tries to take the controller from me and he tries to play because he see daddy does it. And the thing about it is, what I've been doing, I've been giving him a game that like does like practice mode or exhibition or anything like that, like where like if it's a racing game where it just drives whatever wherever it goes and there's no penalty. And he's learning how to drive the cars in the little sandbox or whatever. Like I had him playing Smuggler's Run for the GameCube, and there's a practice mode where you can just ride around the world, and that's all he's been doing. And he think he's doing everything. He think he's doing everything right in the game. He think he's the man because he's actually playing the game. And just to watch him play, and then I sit over here and I play my games. It's just a good feeling because, you know, just like I said with this E3 stuff, all the stuff is coming on the E3 and all the games I have now, which I just picked up 4 more games, which I'll be doing a pickup video on. It's just so refreshing to have a really good game collection and just good games to play. Even if they're old or new or whatever the case may be, I'm just having a blast. I mean, got finished playing, I was playing some Resident Evil 8, I played some Madden, then I turned right back around and I've been playing the game on my Dreamcast, or I was playing on my original Xbox. And I honestly, I just feel like I'm blessed just to have all these games to play, and it just, to me, it just means something because I put in the work to get all these games, and it's just refreshing to have all these games in my collection. I'll be able to play whenever, and it just goes back to what I was saying, where I don't understand why people are upset at, you know, these press conferences. Like, you don't realize, I mean, even with the Xbox, Game Pass is probably the best thing that ever happened to gaming. And I may dwell into that one day and make a video about that, but I think it's the best thing that happened in gaming, hands down. It's not even close at this point, because they do a great job of giving you so much content for so little price. I mean, you pay I think I paid like 3 months for $45 or something like that. I don't even know what the whole spill is, how much it is. I just bought a 3-month code recently, and I already had like a year already, but I just bought a 3-month code. But so if you never got onto it, I think, you know, for $45 you pay for 3 months. I mean, you may sound like that's steep, $15 a month, but the games that you get are just phenomenal. I mean, I don't care if they're from the original Xbox up to Xbox Series. I mean, you can't beat that. All those games for that little price. You know, to me, I mean, and I'm a big collector on physical copies, but it's just, for the value, you cannot beat that at all. So it's just, I think we came in at a great time when it comes to gaming. All of us who are still up and running and playing games, or you're a gamer, I think it's a great time for us that we came in at this time. And I wouldn't, you know, trade it for anything right now. It's just, with all things going on, that's behind the scenes of my life, and me coming up here and play some games and just have a good time. It's just a wonderful thing going on right now. And I just think I just think it's awesome. It really is. I cannot think of another situation where it's a good time to enjoy one of the best hobbies in the world. It's just phenomenal. It really is. My thing is, I think before I close, because like I said, I want to get around the 20-30 minute mark, 25-30 minute mark. I think that uh, gaming is one of the best hobbies to have, and I'm glad that my son is actually able to get into it, even despite with all these breaches and these hacks and all this other stuff going on. I think that with gaming in the state it is in, yeah, it might not be as um, it may not be a collector's hobby anymore. I don't think collecting these new games are pretty much I think it's ridiculous right now if you try to collect PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X or S. I think it's ridiculous if you're trying to collect for those games, because I don't think those games that have any weight to them, to be honest. I think if you collect games for PS4, Xbox One on down, I think you'd be all right. But even despite that, I think gaming is in a phenomenal space right now. I mean, you get your PlayStation 5, you get your Xbox Series, even if you still have your Xbox One or PS4, you have a lot of content to play. You have a lot of things that you can do as far as actually play games. It's just a good time. And even if you want to collect, you can go into the retro world, and it is one of the reasons why I do my pickup videos every week, because there's something for everybody, and no matter what the console is or what what type of game you want to play, the library of games from the 80s, 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, now going into 2020s, you're almost talking about somewhere around a 40-year, and in some cases, a 50-year, range of nothing but good content. Yeah, there are bad games out there, but you can find wonderful games out of all these areas, all these generations of games, and that's why I sit back and I wonder how, and I know people are entitled to their feelings, people are entitled to their emotions, they're entitled to how they feel, but I wonder why there's so many people that are just upset with gaming sometimes. I just don't understand it. It's just, hey, if the new games ain't for you, I promise you there's something back in the day that you haven't played that you'll have just as much fun playing now. And that's the mentality that I've been taking, and I've been taking that route for years. And it's never let me down. There's never a dry season in gaming for me. There's never a time where I don't know what I want to play. Sometimes I may feel like I'm overwhelmed because I'm looking at too many games at one time and don't know what to play. But I know what I want to play, if that makes sense. I know what I want to play, but when I'm looking at all my games, I don't know which one to pick off the shelf. I guess that's the best way to say it. But I know what I want to play, and like I said, even with Game Pass, even if you're not a collector like me, if you get Game Pass, you would never have a dry season in gaming if you just have Game Pass. Hell, even with PlayStation, even if you have PlayStation Now, I mean, I'm not a big fan of it, but even if you have PlayStation Now, you will never have a dry season. If you have any of these consoles, you won't have a dry. Even if you have a PC, definitely with PC, you would never have a dry season. Which I don't understand sometimes with some gamers, but that's another story for another day. I don't want to get too much into that, but I'm thankful for gaming, and I'm thankful for this hobby. This is a great hobby. The only thing I need to worry about is trying to manage how I'm going to set all this up. I do more trying to do different setups up here than actual gaming sometimes. And that's something I need to work on. I really do. So maybe I'll get that together, and once I finally get that together, I can do a real tour of this room so you can see what I actually have all up in here. It's not extravagant as the other ones, but I like it and I'm proud of it, and I guess that's all that matters. All right, I think that's going to be it for episode 10 of the VF Cast. I am VF Baller. If you made it this far, I really, really appreciate it. I am in the works of putting this podcast on a bunch of podcast outlets. It's already up, but I just need to find a way to just get it out to everybody so everybody can get it to their favorite platforms. I already got it set up. It's kind of locked behind actually releasing it to the public. So right now, the only place you can get this podcast is on this channel, but I will be doing that in the near future. Please be on the lookout for that, because I will definitely be pushing the podcast once I actually am able to get those on the Spotify, Google Play, Anchor, all the other great stuff. That I will have it there very, very soon. So be on the lookout for that. Also, like I said in the beginning of the video, if you haven't already, go check out the Teespring link. The link is down in the description. The Teespring link has these items that you see right under me and a little bit more stuff. I mean, I even have stuff for the women. I have stuff for the casual person who wants to sip their coffee or their Starbucks or whatever you have in your drink. You have a tumbler right there. I also have coffee mugs as well. And I have nice little t-shirts there that are pretty cool. Those t-shirts just been created. I'm going to order a few so you guys can see what they're hitting on. And you can see a guy like me wear it, and maybe you see what it looks like when it's fitted on a regular person. So hopefully you guys will be able to be around to check all that out. If you haven't already, hopefully you can subscribe to the channel to be in tune with more of the content that I put on here. I try to do content on here at least once a day, every other day, talk about gaming news. Also, do some pickups that I have every week. I do a pickup show where I'll tell you what games I picked up, and I have a little backstory behind all those games. And I do the podcast here as well. So hopefully you guys will check all that out. I will be seeing you guys next week. I'll be doing episode 11, and we'll see what the topics is based on what happens throughout the week. And be on the lookout for my pickup video, and I'll be doing some videos throughout the week on whatever topic that comes around as far as gaming news. So hopefully guys will take it easy. You guys be blessed. Thank you once again for being around and watching this podcast. I'll see you next time. Peace.